Season's greetings and welcome to Two Balls and a Mic, episode 150, 150 episodes in a row. We are almost there to the end of the World Cup. We're going to go ahead and start with our experience in the San Diego Soccers. I know I said World Cup, but we're going to go ahead and have a guest on with that. And, I know what the issue is. I clicked it on. Don't worry, Chiva. We are streaming.
Okay, cool.
We're also going to go ahead and talk to the great, the powerful Cesar H. Football. Cesar Hernandez, the great friend, ESPN writer, was just in Doha, Qatar. We're going to go ahead and get his thoughts on Mexico, cats, food, and overall the World Cup on its own. Also touch on the passing of a great legend, unfortunately, the Grant Wall. So that'll be a good conversation to be coming up. We also have Loyal returning players. San Diego Loyal is having one of these, blandest off seasons. Just like, yeah, they're all coming back except for
Most of them, except for some.
well, you're right. And so we're starting up the stream here. Season's greetings. And it doesn't make sense. And I explained this to our new individual who is out in the wings, the great Drew, the Wisconsinite Drew Steck. I think, let me see. It's going to say it's your Cesar for a bit. Just wave to the people if you want to. Look, there he is.
Hey, Cesar looks different.
Cesar does look different. and he's talking into the void. I mean, he forgot to speak how to speak English.
No, I couldn't do his voice. I was trying to.
I'm such an idiot.
Trying to sound like I went to school in Santa Cruz, and it didn't come off well. So, no, Cesar is not me, but I am cosplaying as a. Oh, here we go. Done deal.
Here we go.
All right, those of you who don't know, Drew is joining the Two Balls and a Mic team. Tony, you want to elaborate?
No, I don't. No.
Oh, wow. Okay.
just cut the yes that. No,
wow.
But the great and friendly, your friendly neighborhood Drew has joined the team here at Two Balls and a Mic. He's, just going to be helping us out and just moving the chains towards that World Cup dream. And, we've had our meetings here with the agents and, just closed door meeting. So, Drew,
you'd think his head would look smaller in person, but it really does look that big. It's surprising, but I'm really glad to be joining the team. I'm really glad to be here working with you guys on all sorts of fun little projects that I think will take a little time to percolate and come out. But the general gist is that we want to make this thing go international with the World Cup. We got to first get national. So we're going from San Diego, we're going across the country, and we're going to kind of pull in just new ideas, new stuff, and also just kind of make more of what this is and this community has been, which is an awesome soccer community in San Diego, but spread it everywhere. So happy to be here with you guys, and happy to be working on the Two Balls banner.
Yes, sir, and we couldn't be more happy to have you, Drew.
Thanks, guys.
The breaking news is in. So Drew will be joining us in the alcoves in stage left, stage right. He will be ever present. And yeah, just getting that involvement. Obviously, thank you for working on the World Cup food.
Yes.
Post, like you can tell when
we're gonna get into
like
sure.
Something changed, like in the socials for Two Balls and I was like,
Yeah.
what happened here? Like, it's all thanks to the brainchild
Another creative
of
genius
Drew.
mind joining us. That's amazing.
But yeah, so
I have a very distinct voice. It's a good and a bad thing, I think, sometimes.
it's your Wisconsin accent. It's coming back.
It's a distinct voice here, talking about curds and whey.
Cheese curds and Aaron Rodgers.
And Rogers. People are tuning in right now and seeing just the title of me and Cesar are like, what is happening? Why did Cesar suddenly just kind of like go like 2 shades lighter on the makeup scale? Like what's happening here?
This has always been the real Cesar. Like, if you guys, when have you seen Cesar and Drew in the same room? Yes. But again, that's the magnitude.
We lived like 10 blocks from each other, and we meant to hung out like 200 times, and we hung out like twice. So it was mostly on accident. So it's not from lack of trying. It was just always literally like me being like, hey, and being like, hey, and he's working hard. He's working on assignment, going to
100%.
Qatar and meeting cats and stuff. So no, it's good to be here, and this is awesome. But yeah, shout out to Olive in New York, everyone's other favorite kit maker, and a local designer here in Wisconsin who made this cow kit. If you're wondering why I look Moorific, and the sleeve is actually our license plate, our old license plate thing here. So that's cool. And we're also repping possibly future sponsors. Carl, I know you watch. Get in touch.
Yeah, come on,
Let us know.
Jarritos.
bro. I'll down a Mindanao here and there.
I'm drinking Mineragua right here on
I'm
air.
saying. I'm
Yes,
saying,
sir.
Carl, what's going on? Some liquid deaths. Let's go.
Ooh, that'd be great. That's actually pretty cool.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah, that'd be hardcore. Just cracking cans on here. This is brought to you by Liquid Death.
Liquid Death. Sunday. But yeah, so Drew, you are the best. I will again put the magic.
the best.
I'll put the magic. What is that? The cloak of invisibility on you. Watch 3, 2, 1. Like he was never
You're a
here.
wizard, Harry.
You're a blizzard, Harry. Have you seen those memes?
No, what memes?
The memes with
Blizzard, like
it's like you're a wizard, Harry, but it's just you're a blizzard, Harry, and then it just cuts to Harry, and it's a bad Photoshop of a DQ Dairy Queen.
okay, that's
head
what I was.
on.
Okay,
It's so dumb.
Wow.
It's so dumb.
Well, Tony,
All right, so San Diego Sockers, right?
Guess what?
Let's just start. What?
yesterday was a big day for Two Balls in the Mic.
It was.
How are you feeling?
I am feeling better than I thought I was. I was a nervous wreck going into it. I've told everybody who
Yeah.
was kind of like talking about it, like, hey, like, how do you feel? Like, oh,
Something
you know,
like that.
depending on who asks, right? Like, if it's a boss that's kind of saying, hey, how do you feel, Craig? Oh, excellent.
Ready,
I'm
we're great.
ready.
Yeah.
It's game day. But on the inside, I was
But it's someone that's more personal, and you're
Dying.
like, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous.
really nervous. And
I think I told you-
overthought it the whole time.
Yeah, at least for like the last week, right? I think I told you when we sat down and we were like monitor in front of us, headset on. I told you, oh shit, dude, like I'm fucking nervous.
Yeah, that was the first time that you said it, and honestly, it's fine. It was natural.
Yeah.
Again, thank you for the San Diego Sockers for giving us this opportunity. But we are now the Spanish language commentary team for a professional MASL.
Let's just say other
indoor
teams probably
soccer, the
slept on
champions.
us.
Yeah, I mean, San Diego is ever growing in this venture, in this soccer, in this sport. We can totally do San Diego Loyal right now.
100%. By the way, we've asked Loyal,
Right now.
hey man, we'll do this for free.
Ahorita, papa.
And they
It's
just kinda
okay.
laughed.
It's okay. Now, guess what? Now we have a price tag. Like now, there was a lot of people that came out and shouted us out and said, "Hey, congratulations!" Like I showed you. I guess I still
Yeah.
have a Facebook. Like a teacher of mine like reposted.
Yeah,
He's like
dude.
a student of mine. Tony Sanchez is doing both. I'm very proud of him. And
Yeah, dude, a lot
out
of
the
people on
woodwork.
Instagram, they're very, very nice towards me. They make a post about it, and a lot of very positive feedback. And
You look
a lot
good
of
that day.
congratulations.
you look good.
I tried.
You got DMs. Oh, look at you blush. You don't know much.
Nah, it's
you
all
don't know
good.
much.
It's all good. No
It's
DMs.
all good. Shut up.
No DMs.
No, you didn't. It was
No,
just it was just me next to
It
you.
was
like,
my mom. My mom
Your
said,
mom?
my mom always replies to all my stories and says, "Qué guapo, mijo."
Yeah, so Drew,
She's my biggest-
If
she's my
you
number
see
one fan.
if you see some lady and you're like, "What the fuck is this listening to? Why is this lady listening?"
My
That's
mother.
his
It's my mother.
mom.
2 Balls in the Mic, biggest fan.
But yeah, so
So we got there. Let's
Yes.
kind of talk about how the whole day went through, right? And we'll get to the game a little bit.
yes,
Which we have a few minutes before we're joined by Cesar H. Football. If you guys don't know him, boy from ESPN, he's a good friend of the podcast. He's joining us later to talk about the World Cup and his experience in Qatar. But so I pick you up. It's fucking pouring.
yeah,
Never rains in San Diego. It's pouring.
been pouring the last
I
2 days.
text you when I get in my car. I said, I am pissed. I am mad, Tony, because I got soaked and my outfit was. It looked. I showed you a picture and I was so mad.
There
It looked bad.
was snow in National City. This is National City, but there was snow in National City. I'm trying to look for the reports, but yeah,
It was true then.
It was true. Yeah, there was snow in National
Damn,
City.
dude.
Like
It's global
global
warming.
warming is coming for us,
Oh,
and it's
let's just hope we get to see the World Cup before something else happens.
yeah. No, after yesterday, I told you like, man, it would suck if like because I have a big doctor's appointment coming
When's
up.
the last time you had a doctor's
7
appointment?
years ago. And
Yikes,
so like
holy shit.
I'm afraid there's gonna be like, hey,
Boy, they're gonna tell you you gained a little bit of weight since the last doctor's appointment.
actually, I don't know.
Wow, you were bigger 7 years ago?
Maybe, I don't know.
No
I
shot.
fluctuate. I'm go from super athlete to like
I've only known you for
Chiva 2.0.
first time I met you was what, like maybe 5 years ago?
Maybe more, maybe 6. we're on to 3 years for Two Balls and a Mic. This is 150 episodes, 150 weeks.
Maybe 6 years ago. Started getting close like 3 years ago.
Yeah. Anyway, so we get to the arena. We get there early. They already drive safe out there. There were some unfortunate accidents.
Oh, that was bad.
Yes.
But we get there and hit up our boy Craig. Shout out to Craig.
Make Craig walk in the rain to
Honestly,
give us passes.
He's the man that made all this happen.
Yeah, 100%.
He's the guy that honestly has believed in us since day one. And honestly, we wouldn't be where we're at, especially with the soccer's gig, if it wasn't for him. But yeah, so he gave us our credentials. I don't know if you have it. Did you leave it in your car?
Yeah, it's somewhere, but yeah, we have we're official staff. We sign contracts. There's tax forms that have been signed already. So this is a legitimate job. Like, to all the people, the millions and millions who have ever asked through these 3 years, and to come up, oh, how's the podcast going? Oh, good. Oh, you're still doing it? Oh, yeah. Oh, so how much are you getting paid for that? Nothing.
Negative something dollars.
Yeah, no, we're losing money. Like, yesterday, I told my mom, oh, like I did this. And he's like, oh yeah, that's cool, mijo. ¿Y te pagaron? Did they pay you? This is the first time I'm like, yes, they did. Yes, they did.
I mean, besides
the stupid shit that I do and I hijack your garage for as we have lavadoras going in the background. Off. It's hey, we're seeing influx.
Dude,
all right,
and it's funny because we were talking about it. I think we're at a point where we're very honest with the people that join us.
As opposed to when we weren't.
No, we're always honest. We were talking about it maybe a month ago, and we said, dude, like something needs to change, right? Like it feels like we're stuck, and it's sometimes discouraging. But all this has been happening. Drew joined our team. I think we kind of felt like that too because there's no games to go to.
Yeah, I mean the off season for San Diego Loyal, San Diego Wave is it's sad.
Now
we've had World Cup though, and like I think that World Cup has kind of like
elevated a little bit too.
Yeah, because I remember I remember what it's like to watch the World Cup and know different players, know this guy Amrabat, who I've known about, like, and just like just peripherally, not like I've been knowing about this, like no, like I just know that's a really good player, and we'll get to why Morocco is absolutely dominating and will probably win the World Cup and stop Messi from winning it.
Oh man, we'll get to that. But so we go in, we start walking around at Pachanga Arena, and we go on the field. We kick the ball around a little bit. I think next time now we know we got to just go comfy.
Yeah, we're going to take an extra pair of clothes and just play a little bit. And just
dress after.
Yeah, exactly. So that's going to be...
That's what a lot of people do, actually.
Apparently. And so, yeah, we get up there. The TVX people are very courteous. We have a whole production crew. Somebody else asked me, like, oh, so, like, do you guys have to set up? I'm like, nope. No, we just showed up. Just showed up. And
it's very different to what we're used to when it comes to, like, UPSL and streaming those games. We set everything up.
So this is why this is crazy, right? So in the production, right, this is the first time the San Diego Soccers have done a simulcast.
Yes.
And the first time they do it, then the production is the first time that they've done it. So they're like, all right, this should, in theory, work. It worked, but this just means that there's a guy next to me, like 2 feet next to me. Like, not even 2 feet, like a foot next to me. And he has to man 3 headphones because it's the production headphones, Craig and Nate Aburea's headphones, and then now they have these two guys who are talking a different language on the headphones. So he had so shout out to the boy.
He spoke Spanish.
He spoke Spanish. It was a little clunky in the beginning for us because there was a lot like here you go. And there was games in like 15 minutes.
I think a lot of things weren't explained. Where if we went to commercial, I think 619 Soccer told us we had a hot mic during commercials. And that's what I asked the boys, right? Hey, are we allowed to talk during commercials? Can they hear us? And he's like, oh yeah, they can sometimes hear you. Okay, cool.
Whatever that means, sure. But it was good. The game itself, like speaking of people who came out of the woodwork, like we had a lot of people who listened on Canela TV. So Canela.tv, that's where you're going to find San Diego Soccers in Spanish with us on the call. You'll find Twitch for Soccers 2 in English. That'll be a little bit easier, but Canela.tv.
Yeah, so a lot of people are asking, are you guys going to do this every single game? No. So Canela has a contract with the MASL, and the Soccers got selected to have 4 of their regular season games to stream in Spanish. So those are the 4 games that we'll get to do. Our next one will be January 29th against Chihuahua Savage. So we're doing 4 home games for San Diego Soccers, and we're going to do every single home playoff game, which in theory should be 2 home playoff games and then the championship games as well. If they run a three-peat again.
Is if things go as they should be going. And so in of itself, the game was not a typical indoor game. And what we'll do is definitely talk about our experience, what we saw, the certain players. The Sockers are 2 weeks into their campaign into their preseason. They had 2 weeks of preseason.
Yep.
There's some fitness that needs to be, addressed.
Yeah.
But this is where the talent just supersedes anything else, is that they're still the San Diego goddamn Sockers. And top to bottom, they have the depth. They have the players, the attack, the defense, the goalkeeper. Everything is there.
Yes.
So when this team gets into 100% match fitness, that's when we're going to have more than 2 goals in a game. But yeah, it was one of those games where it was a cagey game. There was strikers who played well, formerly known as Ontario Fury. It was honestly the coolest thing we've done as 2 balls in a mic. And I think it's the biggest thing that we've done as 2 balls in a mic.
Yes.
Like, in general, this raises the stakes. This raises the bar. I'm very critical of everything I do. And so
You're a perfectionist, dude. I told you, it's your toxic trait. You're a perfectionist. But there's nothing wrong with that. Honestly, we wouldn't be where we're at if you weren't like this either. But you kept me on my toes a lot. But the game on its own, right? Very unusual for a game to be 2-1 and for it to be this close. Soccer shouldn't have won this game.
they shouldn't have. They really shouldn't have.
They should have not won. Speaking to players from Empire Strikers after, and some people tell them, like, dude, we thought you had it. And the player said, we thought so too. But you guys are the Sockers. You guys are the best. And that says a lot already.
So then in the first half, in the first quarter, primer cuarto.
Con el tiro.
Trying to find the footing, trying to make something happen out of like, how I want to call. I don't know how I want to call this.
It's difficult knowing the players on the other team and trying to see the numbers. You can't barely see the numbers from that team.
All right, so let me know the goal. Like, I was like, there's a lot of goal chance. Am I gonna go like goal? Like what is that? What is gonna come out?
Yeah.
That's what came out.
Yeah, it was.
That's what came out.
Okay. I don't think that was bad.
But here's where, like, we're good at this, right? I can tell you what happened and why that happened as it's happening. Like, that's the thing, the strength that we have, just because we know the sport and we know what happens.
And that's the feedback we got, right? Is breaking down the play while it happened or right after it happened. I think it's something that we're actually going to be very good at when we even get more practice, especially with the Sockers too. Like you said, we know the game. We know the indoor game. You've played it. I've played it. I'm still playing it right now. Perdón.
Yeah, the other day, we had a little get together, and then you're like, I got 2 games today.
I had back-to-back games. Dude,
games.
That shit was tiring, dude.
I'm the machine. And guess what? You're still gonna lose on January 8th when they put
we
you
have
on
a
the other side.
$100 bet that I'm gonna freaking score on you.
You're not gonna score on me.
Fuck, I'm gonna
You're
fucking
score
on you
me.
this time because I'm not gonna play defense. I'm gonna stay on top. And I'm going to just cazagoles, offside. I don't care.
That's what you said last year.
No, this time I don't care.
That's what you said last year.
I'm not staying back this time.
That's what you said last year. And guess what? And bad memories. Drew might just leave us. You guys both got locked down by Darren Smith.
I didn't even play on top. I'm going to be up there now. Like, you know what? Bring on Ciso again. Bring on Jack Metcalf now. I'll put him on my team.
I love you, Drew. But yeah, no, you're not going to score. So then that was that. The game goes 1-1 all the way into overtime. Good thing that we read the rule book, because that's something that I've been like reading just religiously. Like, okay, according to rule 5.5, overtime happens. If there's no score in overtime, it's golden goal, which is great. I love golden goal. The stakes are high. If not, it goes into shootouts. But unfortunately for the San Diego Sockers, that was not the case. It didn't need to go into the shootout phase. I'm trying to find, where did it go? Oh, because I uploaded them.
Did you? That's dope.
And guess what? I was. They showed us, and it's so weird because they're like, "All right, guys, in about 2 minutes, you're gonna have to stand up and just wave to the camera." And we're like, "Guys, we're mid broadcast." We're like, "Okay."
¿Cómo seguimos hablando del juego, güey?
And then we're like,
hola.
"Hi," like, no, not that one. Oh, hi. Like, okay, cool. Now sit down. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Gotcha.
You got it, Chief.
It was a big learning experience. Fun as hell. But at the end of the day, like, I'm just glad that the Soccers won and we didn't just jinx them because they have an unbeaten streak. I know. There's an unbeaten streak going on, and had it been like, the first game that we commentate, they lose.
We're the fucking jinx. Like, that would have been it.
But yeah, so here's that.
Gol de oro. Primer equipo que anote gana este encuentro. Encuentro cerrado. Aquí está el error de San Diego que viene. ¡Tiro!
I was so hyped. I was like, Tony, metió un gol.
The arena goes wild. Cesar Cerda, el Capi.
Honestly, man, like,
I have no idea what I said at this point. I have no recollection of this.
and I told you, dude, what you said was dope. Like,
Gana San Diego. Gana contra Empire Strikers. ¡Qué buena jugada individual! Esa es la presión.
Good individual play. That's the pressure. That's the anger coming out.
yeah.
Oh, that was my favorite part. Like, it's so dumb the way I said it, because literally, like, I told you, like, I'm gonna go WWE like style, like in Spanish and translate it.
Cesar Cerda desde Saltillo, México.
Desde Saltillo, Mexico.
Yeah.
Desde Saltillo, Mexico.
No, for
My
sure,
God
man.
Almighty, he scored it. You know what? Soccer's too. That's what that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the call. It was on Canela. There was a great performance by Boris Pardo. And I guess this is where we plug our bosses. I don't think we've talked about this, but honestly, if you want to get a good game breakdown, Soccer's Overtime on Twitch every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Check them out. Craig Elston, Jerry Jimenez. They do a great job, obviously, of always talking about the Soccers, talking to the players, talking about the games. So I'm pretty sure they're going to have something to say about these games because, you know, it got dicey there.
It was fun, man.
It was fun as fuck.
It was a lot of fun. I mean, again, the important thing is that they won. Obviously, they like to win by a larger margin. We'd like to see more goals, but still a very close game. Boris Pardo, like, crack.
Boris Pardo's a god.
Crack.
Like,
You're not better than him.
I
Admit it. You
look,
are. No,
look.
shut the.
Look.
Shut up, dude.
Look.
No.
Look.
You guys believe this guy? Do you guys believe this guy right
when
now?
to recognize that, hey, maybe this guy has some talent. This guy can maybe, stop a ball here and there.
Puppy Chow with a comment.
Darren just literally stood there on the tracks of the train that came through. Choo choo. Yeah, no, I got a front row to that.
We didn't know the overtime rules last night. Puppy Chow. We'll send you the link to the rule book.
Thank you there to the great Jerry Jimenez. Dan, we have a lot of windows open. Yes, that's
Always.
what happens with you have
Always.
M1 MacBook, M1 chip. God bless it. I want to get that studio. Drew, should we get the studio?
Stop. Dude, that's more money.
All right.
That is way more money now.
I know, because I walked into the Apple Store the other day and I actually saw it, and I'm like, ooh, that's sexy.
No.
Like, that is.
No, we don't need
sexy.
that. We do not need that right now. But yeah, man, nonetheless, it was just overall an experience of a lifetime, man. Honestly, like, it only gets better from here, right? Like,
it has to. Like that's what calmed us down, is that Craig, before the game, while we were taking it in, we're looking at the lights, and we're like, wow, this is where Edge beat The Undertaker in a last man standing match for his career, ECW last standing match.
Is there Bad
and
Bunny,
Undertaker won. This is
WWE
where Bad Bunny
champion.
now performs here. Like, oh my! And Craig comes in like, don't worry, guys, this will be your worst call.
Which
this
is 100%
will
true.
be the worst that you ever do. And I'm like, yes, you're right. And then I think that that's one thing that kind of calmed us down. It's just like, all right, he's right.
Yeah.
And Again, thank you.
And if this
for
was the
everybody.
worst,
yeah,
then I think the next one's gonna be even better.
I hope so. So the next one that we're gonna do is,
And if we do worse, then that's something we gotta look into because that's not.
we
supposed
might
to
not get
happen,
paid. But yeah, so the next one that we do have coming up on our schedule in Spanish is against the Mesquite.
Isn't that Chihuahua?
No, you're right. I'm thinking Mesquite as in the next game. Next game
yeah.
is against Mesquite.
Next Spanish one is Chihuahua, January 29th.
Valdovinos.
We're doing soccer too next week,
Valdovinos.
Sunday.
I get to call your games, Valdovino. I get to.
Yeah, that's right. You got beef with that guy.
Berna, number 0,
right.
goalkeeper for Chihuahua. Like, I get to professionally call your name and, do that. So thank you everybody who's been shouting us out. Keep watching. Like, I know a lot of people were able to watch it. It's interesting. Canela TV is an interesting platform. There's like the Latin American Maury, which is Laura in America. Is on there. So like I downloaded the app. I'm like, we're on the same network as Laura. Oh my God. And then like I kept looking.
You
I'm
like little things like
they
that.
have, yeah, I do. Because it's it's a level thing.
Technicalities.
Yeah, exactly. And then I'm like, they have movies. And I click and there's like a couple movies on there. And it's like The Kitchens of Passion. And it's like, Skinemax is here. We're also with that. So, hey, I'm okay with it. Synthesis today replayed the game. That's a Mexican TV station in TJ in Tijuana. So, I mean, it's interesting how things are getting a little weird.
Jerry's telling us that Canela has lucha libre.
Oh, bro! Again, yep. That's the end. All these people who are gonna be watching.
We're getting the lucha libre crowd.
Yeah, no, we're definitely gonna go ahead and I'm gonna incorporate a little bit more lucha libre talk. But that was, again, San Diego Soccers. We'll talk a little bit more because I know people wanted to know, like, hey, what's the difference between outdoor game and the indoor game? And what they want to get to know the flow of play a little bit better.
Yeah.
It's very similar. Just, tip number 1, there's walls. There you go.
Use the walls.
There you go. But yeah, so with that said, let's see if I really haven't even tried this, but this should be working. We want to go ahead and once again thank this individual for coming on taking time from his cat naps that he's been enjoying since returning to the beautiful, beautiful country of America. We have the great and powerful Cesar H. Football joining us. Cesar, how are you?
Hey, everybody. Can you guys hear me all right? Everybody,
yes.
Do I sound good? Yeah.
Man, I miss hearing your voice. Jeez.
Hey,
Let
hey
me
guys.
just fix that.
Hey, everybody.
Perfect.
Man, welcome to the podcast once again. We're gonna get started. How's Qatar, man?
Hey, how are you, Cesar? ¿Cómo estás? Like, welcome back.
He was in Qatar. This guy was in Qatar, man.
He was in Qatar. He works for ESPN.
How are you doing, Cesar?
I'm doing great. Well, now I'm hanging out with you guys. I just opened up a beer, so I'm having a great
Hell
time
yeah.
here. Like, chill with you guys. So, it's Qatar. It's very strange. It's surreal. You have to, when you talk about the World Cup, obviously you have to, bring up the fact that, it's a controversial host, a host country, which probably shouldn't have been given the World Cup. Numerous issues when it comes to LGBTQ plus rights, when it comes to workers' rights, when it comes to women's rights, when it comes to so many things. So it was bizarre. It was surreal. And there are a number of times there where you would kind of like hang out with other journalists and you kind of look around and say, how did any of this happen? Why are we out here? Are we part of the problem? So obviously there's a lot of weird feelings going into that, heading into the tournament. So it was a very surreal, bizarre tournament. And also didn't help that Mexico didn't do well. That actually obviously sucked too. So
tell me about the disappointment, right? Like, you cover Mexico intimately when it's not World Cup time. Like, the ins and outs, Liga Mexicana, the intricacies of why we are in such a rut as, a selección. But is it different just to see them fail in the world stage, essentially, as they did
In person.
in person, in HD, full Technicolor? Is it any sort of different, or are you just always ever present Mexico, or ever present I am, press, no emotions, no cheering.
It's easy for any other team. Any other, I don't care, like any other game I've ever been to, club, just like it doesn't matter. Just like I do not let my emotions get the best of me. I've always done a good job of that. I've always been unbiased when it comes to club soccer, but when it comes to Mexico, I can't help it. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like when I was there, watching them when when that Luis Chavez goal went in, that golazo from Luis Chavez, like I was screaming. Like I can't help myself, not gonna lie. So watching that live in person, you try to be unbiased, but I recognize I'm fully biased, watching the Mexican national team. So it hurt. I mean, obviously, there's a journalistic perspective. Obviously, you have to recognize there's a reason why Mexico did not do well. Anybody could recognize, some of the issues with El Tri going into the World Cup. But so I think that was kind of like fairly easy to recognize. But when it came to me as a fan in the end, because that's why I'm here today, that's the only reason why I'm writing about soccer, was because I grew up as a massive Mexico fan, and it hurts. It really did hurt to see some of that, to see that live right in front of you, just the pinnacle of world soccer right there, right in front of you, and just to see them struggle, to see them have issues. So was I surprised from my own, my journalistic part of my brain, which kind of knew that this could potentially happen? Was I surprised? Not really. But but as a fan, you, especially as a Mexico fan, you think it's like, oh well, they've always gotten the job done. Maybe they'll be able to make it into the next round, like they've always done. Maybe there's always that chance, and they were so close, and they were so incredibly close. But I'll probably have to stop talking about it right there, because then we'll just stop. I'll be here until 11 p.m. Drew's over there. Drew's over there. It's like it's got to be like 2 a.m. where Drew's at right now.
He's
so like I don't want to keep him awake forever. So yeah, so.
He's looking up at the northern lights right now. Like he's in a different part of the nation, and he's enjoying himself out there. Shout out to the Midwest, Wisconsin, Upper Midwest. I don't even know what it's called. I don't even know where he's at.
Somewhere.
Middle East.
It's called the East. Whoa, hey, God, is that you?
I love that. But yeah, so you had your an article coming out. You've been working hard. You're not just enjoying World Cup soccer.
Cesar was on a quest over there.
You are on a quest, exactly. And so obviously you had a nice little write up. Could you tell us like what was the inspiration of this? Are you on assignment? Are you just kind of given a blank slate? And this you kind of gave us your Anthony Bourdain-esque soccer version. Like here's what it's like over here. Like what was the inspiration for your article over here at ESPN?
So for that article, so for those of you who are not watching this live, it's me talking about the Mexican food that I found out there in Qatar. Well, the reason for that too, just because when you're on assignment over there, that was not assigned to me. The reason why I wanted to do that was because it's I'm not gonna say it's easy to do press conference stuff. It's easy to do match coverage and quotes, and I wanted, if I was out there, I was like, let me find something interesting. I want to do something, I don't know, that's I was thinking like, let me find something weird, something interesting that kind of like catch your attention. And I was trying to figure out what that was going to be. I wasn't entirely sure what it was, but what kind of inspired it was, I after just a couple of days there, I just Googled just for fun. I was like, all right, Mexican food, Qatar. And then I saw some place called Viva Mexico. And I was like, all right, well, this is going to be interesting. Let's go to Viva Mexico over in over Qatar.
In Qatar.
And guys, I'm not even joking. I went into Viva Mexico and I was like, this is probably going to be really weird. Why am I even doing this? I went in and I'm not even joking. They as soon as I got in there, they immediately started speaking Spanish to me. They didn't know where I was from. They immediately started speaking Spanish to me.
That's right.
And I was like caught off guard, and it turned out like I started like chatting with the staff, and they told me that they're from Mexico, and I was like, all right, well, this is kind of interesting. So I had a conversation with them, and then I found out about another place over just like in the northern area of Doha, so it's the capital of Qatar, but about like I want to say like 10-15 minutes north of Viva Mexico, a place called La Mexicana, where Chiva and I actually know a guy who actually worked there for a little bit. So shout out to Tacos El Vaquero, where they where Alex from Tacos El Vaquero, he actually worked at La Mexicana. So this is run by a woman who is from Guanajuato, and then she converted to Islam about 20 something years ago, and then she moved to Qatar and opened up a restaurant. So I just kind of found that all kind of interesting, and then I kind of dove into. I found strawberries from Watsonville because I used to live up in Northern California, and I was like, what are these strawberries from Watsonville doing out here? So I kind of like also pieced together, obviously a lot of these strawberries are picked by farm workers who tend to be Mexican and Mexican American up in the Watsonville area. So I just kind of like pieced this all together, how there's a surprising Mexican influence in the World Cup. Even though Mexico's out, they're done, but even before the tournament started, this once again a very controversial tournament, but even before this tournament started, there has been a surprising Mexican influence in food, and it will continue to be that influence. So I kind of found that fascinating.
I mean, the Middle East and Mexican cuisine, have that intersection of like types of meats cooked in a similar place. Maybe the spices are different, but some primo hermanos ahí se llevan. But
yeah, I mean, think about like kebabs or just like shawarma. How like they have like the little like rotating thing, and just like think about like like tacos árabe, like how those went to like Mexico, and then now we have that kind of like style with the big like trompo and that like that's Middle Eastern. That's Mexico got that from Middle Eastern food. So there is actually this kind of like deeper, interesting connection there.
Yeah, I mean, if this was our history version of Two Balls and a Mic, if you really want to go deep into it, right? Like the Islamic reign over in the Iberian Peninsula and Spain then later has that influence over in Mexico, and just things are just make sense at the end of the day. But
I'm really glad you were able to connect with my buddy Alex. I mean, I've known him since high school, and he kind of gave us a sponsorship with Tacos El Vaquero, and
he was the first sponsor for Two Balls and a Mic. Could you talk like, obviously as Mexico fans, we see this. We're tunnel vision when it comes to like the fans. We get this. Oh my God, we're the best. Is it really like that? Do people really love Mexicans over there? Son los desmadrosos del mundial in all like party sense, like above board, like hey, desmadrosos, but like were they the life of the party? Is it just like one blip that we just are overexposed to? Like, what was that like? The la fiesta of it, the fiesta del mundial.
I mean, I would say I'm also biased in this too, but you know what we're like, right? We like to mess around, like we like to
palos, like that's what we are.
like exactly. Like, did you see? Like, I'm sure you guys saw the video where like these dudes where they like bought some like traditional kind of like attire. And then they like went around and were telling like, especially like Argentine fans, like, oh, no photo. And then they like responded in Spanish really quick. Will be like, like like just messing around with you way, like yeah, no te crees way, or just like. So like we like, and it was actually kind of interesting. I was chatting with one.
That's wild.
Sorry, yeah.
But it was interesting. I chatted with one Uber driver out there, and I was asking him like, oh, like who are you rooting for? This is like a I want to say like 2 or 3 weeks into the tournament. And he was like, well, first Brazil. And actually, when you were out there, you meet a lot of immigrants from India and Bangladesh, and they tend to root for Brazil and Argentina and France, like the bigger powerhouses. But there was one he told me he's like, but also I'm rooting for Mexico now. I'm rooting for Mexico. I was like, why are you rooting for Mexico? He's like, oh, you're all a lot of fun. I was like, oh, all right, cool. Like, I get it. But I will say in the state, what did impress me, I will say if there is one thing I have to say about Mexico fans, like also like usual, like most of us, we show up late to things, which what happened during the Mexico Argentina game.
Yeah,
like Mexico fans definitely showed up super late to that one.
Yeah,
but there's this idea like going into the World Cup, like the Argentine fans are kind of like the most passionate, some of the most vocal supporters out there. And they seem to outnumber the Mexico fans at the Mexico Argentina game in the group stage. It's almost like kind of like out of the ordinary for me to go to a Mexico game and to see another fan base completely outnumber Mexico. It caught me off guard going to Lusail Stadium and just seeing all these Argentine fans and good vibes. They had like cumbia music and whatnot, like going on beforehand. And of course, like, you know, their chants are even more creative than Mexico, like, you know, fans in Mexico. It's just like, it would be a lot of like Mexico, clap, clap, clap. And then the Argentine fans will sing about like living and dying for their national team. You're just like, oh man, these fans are at a different level. That being said, during that game, even though there were fewer Mexico fans, and I would say it's probably 60% Argentina fans, 40% Mexico fans were still louder at the game. And it blew my mind. I was like, the Mexico fans are still loud. I was because I knew I was biased. And I asked like I was working with a British colleague, and I was like, all right, tell me, like, which fan base is louder right now? And he's like, oh, it's definitely the Mexicans, right? I was like, it is, isn't it? So that's we got to give us credit for that, right? Even though, you know, even though our fan base too, we're also controversial with the goalkeeper chant, which is messed up, but we really got to stop that, and that's something we really got to fix. And there are other controversial things that you know, Mexico fans are involved in, but you know, I even wrote an article about that too. It's just like Mexico fans, that's something that needs to be fixed. That's something that needs to be resolved, and it's also it's an own conversation that we need to have with our own culture regarding machismo and homophobia when it comes to our own culture. But that being said, I wrote an article about this. It's just like the one thing you can guarantee about Mexico fans is that they'll be loud. they'll be very, very loud. We're very, very loud. We're very, I don't know, like we're definitely the life of the party, and
even when
that's
no
undoubtedly who they were.
Even when there's no hope,
man.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with Mexico, right? There, siempre nos vamos a ilusionar.
Exactly.
And
yeah, dude, exactly.
Well, this was embarrassing for Mexico this World Cup, not even getting out of the group stage. But again, like you were also on assignment and you had these articles, but you also had something different in your Twitter, and it was kind of like cat related. Because we know you're a fan of kitties, and is there a lot of stray cats over there?
Do they speak Spanish?
Yeah. Only the ones in front of Viva Mexico.
I mean, you had ojitos right here.
I mean,
actually, just one ojito. One ojito.
Ojito.
Yeah, ojito.
I mean, again, you had a blast. I mean, if you looked at Cesar's profile, you see like, oh, you know, he's retweeted here and he's posted here and there. This guy's just, you know, just
a whole ass thread.
You wouldn't know that there's soccer going on. Just great food.
I'm convinced at one point he dedicated a whole day to just going around and taking pictures of cats.
Mira meow, qué bonito.
Gatito.
I just saw. I mean, the thing is, like, I just saw cats everywhere, and I was like, all right, I should just start like a World Cup thread of World Cup street cats. And it was actually kind of funny because like there was some person from I forget who it was, like someone from the Associated Press that came up to me, and they're like, oh, can I ask you something? I was like, oh, I wonder what this would be about. And they're like, oh, I love your cat photos. I'm like, oh, thanks, I guess.
Are you the cat guy? Are you Cesar Hernandez?
The World Cup cat guy?
Yeah. ESPN, but no, the cat photos. I mean, just
it's clearly a journalist with like me being with too much time on my hands.
I mean, the aesthetics of it. Look at it. Like, this is just the vantage point is there. Like, wow.
Kitty portrait mode, man.
Continue this in the States, bro.
I just tried to mix it up too. Just, I don't know. It's along the same lines of even just like me going to like, I don't know, Viva Mexico and be like, all right, what's this about? And it's the same thing with just like, all right, like this is kind of funny, interesting. There are cats everywhere. There are cats everywhere. There are like pets everywhere. Just like with Drew right now. There he goes. Yeah. And eventually we saw that with the Brazilian. It actually took me by surprise that it took that long for a cat to eventually show up in a press conference. But we eventually saw that with Brazil's national team.
That's what jinxed them too.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah, right.
You don't treat animals poorly.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's one of those things where give somebody a reason to get bad karma, and it happens, especially in tournament mode. It's so weird and wacky. And again, aside from the controversies, the truly dark undertones that this festival of soccer has for us in this iteration, it's just been a funky World Cup. Like if you just take it for face value, some of the results, I mean, going all the way back to Saudi Arabia, Argentina, like these things aren't just not meant to happen. We have a colleague at our work that, you know, we're teaching him the World Cup and just soccer this way. And we're like, look, soccer is one of these things where whatever happens, supposed to happen, usually happens. But and then we get, you know, Morocco into the semifinals, and then we get Saudi Arabia beating Argentina, and we're over here like idiots. Like you said
that wasn't supposed to happen.
I don't know. What
Keep
to
in
tell
mind,
you.
this is a newly fan that's asked, "Wait, there's ties?"
Yeah.
So that's how new to soccer he is, but he's getting into it, and that's what the World Cup does.
Yeah, we had to explain ties, and then we're like, oh, by the way, now there's no ties. Like now there's a winner. Now it's American Sweet 16
playoffs,
brackets. Like you understand this. But what has been, just as far as in a soccer sense, just the most surprising thing, or some of the most surprising things that you know, for you've like, oh, not a lot of people are like kind of talking about this. Like this is rather interesting. It's been happening.
I mean, I guess that's a good question. I'm not entirely sure because I guess from a sporting sense, you know, obviously, I mean, the easy answer there is obviously Morocco. You know, and I got a chance there to actually like go to a press conference with Morocco's national team manager, and also Bono, their goalkeeper.
Sensational.
And
sensational.
Yeah, we have Bono. And this was before the game against Spain in the round of 16, and I remember being like absolutely like blown away by the confidence of the manager for this coach to be like, well, why can't Morocco win the World Cup? Why can't we do that? And he was saying, just, you know, he was saying, I'm not saying we're going to win the World Cup. He was like, but why can't we say that? And I was like blown away. I was like, wow, like in my mind, I was saying, like, I'm not saying that they should be like lucky just to be in the round of 16, but just the fact that he was saying that. And then they got the result against Spain, and then they got the result against Portugal. And you're like, geez, this is a guy who just took charge a few months ago, and he's able to accomplish this. And so I think for me, I mean, it's an easy answer, and it's what everybody's saying, but that one just, I mean, like Morocco's completely you know, blown me away. I guess off the field, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. I guess it's just the fact that I didn't really interact with that many Qataris in Qatar.
Interesting.
I guess, you know, one thing that you do realize when you go to Qatar is that, you know, this is a country where there's a massive immigrant population, and we know the reason for that. With, you know, it's a lot of workers and laborers who are being exploited. You know, that's the truth. That's reality. We all know that. So I didn't really interact with too many Qataris, but I guess on the flip side, you know, you did get to interact with a lot of people from India, from Bangladesh, and you know, it's a lot of them there under, you know, unfortunate circumstances. A lot of them who you chat with them and you ask like, oh, well, like, you know, what are your long-term plans? And it's definitely not to stay in Qatar forever. A lot of them actually was interesting. A lot of them were saying that they want to move to Canada. Actually, that seemed to be a country that I consistently heard where they want to go to. I think it seemed like perhaps it might be easier with the documentation and the process to go to Canada.
Healthcare is something.
Yeah. So that was actually kind of interesting, with just interacting with a lot of you know, a lot of people from, like I said, from India and Bangladesh. So not really Qataris. You know, that's just, they were kind of behind the scenes.
That's
I guess
what happens when the World Cup's in a newly invented country.
Yeah, I mean, it's one way of putting it, and there's other better, worse ways of putting it too. But it's true, and you know, it just can't separate the two, right? Like there is no, you know, we talk about, oh, can you separate the artist from the art? Can you separate? There's no separating this. Just reality of what the World Cup is, and obviously there's been other years going, you know, back to Russia, like that was controversial. Yeah. At the time,
Brazil had its own.
Brazil was controversial, mowing down half of the Amazon forest and displacing just so many people, and it's just a story that keeps repeating itself. But I mean, you have to be pragmatic at some point and just be able to enjoy some things in life, but obviously be cognizant of that. And again, it's easy for us to be like, well, look at how Qatar is treating, immigrant workers terribly. Yes, yes, yes. If you want to find terrible stories, don't look further than Tijuana. Don't look further than displaced Haitians.
The U.S.
There's
too,
migrants who come in from
backyard.
Central America trying to cross into the U.S. that get stuck in Mexico, and they're illegals in Mexico. And they get treated incredibly poorly. Situations like that, there's an abundance of, and so it's just bringing awareness to it and just hopefully being able to have some sort of positive come out of it, net positive, and I think that's all we can hope for, really, especially on this side of the world, right?
Exactly, and it's also like you both things can exist, right? Like it's fair for you to enjoy the World Cup and love it, and it's fantastic, and just the beauty of what's happening on the field. You can't deny that, and you can also recognize just the issues that are happening behind the scenes. Yes, it can make you feel weird and confused about what's happening, but I feel like both are allowed to happen, and I feel like as long as people recognize what's happening behind the scenes, what's happening with those issues, I think that's what's important. But I think that that doesn't mean that that you can't enjoy the World Cup. Do I blame people who don't want to watch the World Cup? Not at all. If they don't want to watch the World Cup, they feel compromised by everything that's happening. That's 100% fair. But also, if you still love the sport and if you still want to watch it, that's also fair too. That's 100% fair as well.
I mean, it's the love of the game, right? Like
exactly,
you love the game. It's hard to just also ignore it and say, I'm gonna boycott this because I also believe in this. I mean, it happens every 4 years. It happened a little longer this time for this one.
And clearly there is a segment of fans that didn't make the trip, and some certain countries too that I know it's being spoken about, like the Dutch fans. Like usually there's many more Dutch fans at a World Cup. Some French fans as well. Like numbers seem to be a little bit different. At the beginning they had the fake fans, right? The fake Qatari fans, or the workers who were cosplaying as Argentinians, and what's your name?
You know what I will. So just to cut you off. So what I'll say is so I will criticize Qatar 24/7. I will criticize the fact that I had to download an app and that there were the reports that said that they were potentially keeping surveillance of what I was saying. That I will criticize 24/7 what Qatar hosting the World Cup and many issues. What I will say about those the fake fans, I think a lot of those were actual fans. Actually, so it seems weird when you do actually see all these people who are clearly not Argentine, or who seem not Argentine, who are supporting Argentina, or who don't seem English, but the thing is, when you go out there and you remember, because once again, you go out there and there are more people from India in Qatar than actual Qataris. And when you talk to all those workers, a lot of them do 100% support Argentina. They do 100% support Brazil. They do they're really diehards about England. So if I do, there are reports that obviously that FIFA helped pay for fans to go out there and whatnot. That is 100% true. But when I saw a lot of those videos where it just clearly looked like a lot of non-Argentina, non-English fans out there who are supporting those national teams, I don't know, you go out there and you actually do talk to people who work in the country, and they're really proud of supporting Messi and England and France. So that's the one thing that I am skeptical about. But outside of that, I mean, you got to criticize Qatar 24/7 about
Cesar,
everything and anything.
Blink twice if Qatar's making you say this.
Hey, if that's the only thing that I'm trying to back them on, is just that some of those fans weren't fake, and I'm all right with that, as opposed to some of the things that they're journalists and whatnot have been saying about the World Cup there.
And that's where the beauty of this game supersedes a lot of these things. And people could say it's sports washing, but it's la pasión, the passion for the game. And if you were to put this tournament on the moon, and adjust for gravity, obviously, but and have these same games, the World Cup has been entertaining. Some of the stars that are playing up to par. Some aren't. The final four, as they say, might not be everybody's favorite Final Four. Croatia is in the Final Four. Again. Croatia, the team that's been in Mexico's group, a couple of World Cups in past. Like, we've beat this Croatian team.
And I still think about that Guardado celebration where like he did the little like after the 3-1 win. Yeah,
they were talking mad shit about Mexico in 2014. Yeah. But I mean, they're there for a reason, right?
So I have a theory that going into the beginning of it, right, the teams that played as a team are the ones that are being a little bit more successful. We want to, put Morocco in there. They've been having a fantastic World Cup as a team defensively, just putting on a showcase.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. You have Croatia, who knows how to, execute with the formation that they have, with the players that they have, with the style that they have. And yeah, you have France, who has both, right? Messi, Argentina, that's a team, but it still has Messi. It still has that magic. France is that team, but they also have that talent. And so that's what makes them so dangerous. So do you think that, wow. All right, cool. Do you think that, that is something that this World Cup has seen a little bit more, where team play is a little bit more of a factor than individual play, where usually, this is where legends are made in the World Cup, and individual performances are something that are rather common, especially down into the final rounds of this World Cup?
Yeah, that's especially important because, in this World Cup, and we've seen that in the group stage, we've seen that in some of the knockout round results, where you can't really look at one specific team and say they're 100% the favorites and they're 100% have been dominant the entire tournament. You haven't seen that. Yeah, in previous World Cups, I feel like that's been easier to kind of, specifically point out like one specific team or just like or a couple of teams. But in this one, it feels like there's a lot of parity. It feels like there's a lot of there are a lot of national teams who are starting to catch up to some of the traditional powerhouses. So yes, there is something there to be said about a team that can, let's say, perfectly there, like Morocco, where they have some cohesion. They have, you see reports where they have like family there staying with the national team camp, and also like even like the moms of the players like stay in the national team camp, and and like that's helped with the camaraderie, with Morocco. And what a wonderful story that is too, that the first Arab nation, African nation to make it this far, and it's just incredible. It's absolutely incredible to see what they're doing. Argentina too. I feel like they're getting better and better with each passing game. I feel like with even Messi seems to be, I was reading something about some Argentina fans are saying that it's almost as if, especially in that last game, that like it's like the spirit of Maradona is being channeled through Messi, through that the intensity in his like, and it is almost like anger and frustration, where it feels more Maradona like than as opposed to Messi like. And then you look at Croatia, where I know it's incredible to think of a country of that size, a country where their population is 4 million. It's like a little bit bigger than Los Angeles, and they're able to accomplish this goal with with the there you go 3.899 million. I guess you get if you round up and
round up. Yeah,
but with the midfield that they have, and Modric, just a perfect example of just in world soccer, where a player even in their mid to late 30s, that they're able to extend their peak, where they're able to extend their peak abilities, and it's incredible. So yeah, maybe they need a true out and out striker there who's able to do a little bit better with finishing. But I mean, it's just incredible the energy that they have, and just their work rate and their efficiency, and it's amazing. And then there's France, where there's just enough talent and depth there, where more than likely, if you're a betting person, probably put money on them to win it again, just because there's just that in itself, that team, there is enough individual talent to get the job done. And maybe that is a team where maybe that's the exception to some of the other ones, where it looks like there is a little bit more of a cohesion there, especially with Morocco, greater than the sum of their parts team. But with France, I don't know. I feel like they're probably going to be the ones who lift it at the end, just because there's so much incredible individual talent. But like I said, this is a World Cup where it seems like there is more parity than usual, and who knows? Maybe we even have that Croatia Morocco final. Who knows?
And that's you mentioned friends, and that's one of the things Tony has mentioned to me, like off the pod too, is he's been talking about this whole playing as a team being the main thing this World Cup. France has that, but they also have the talent.
Yes.
They have the individual talent, and
exactly.
With Croatia, you have to look at Luka Modric, right? I think when he won the Ballon d'Oro, I was very critical about him, saying, you know what, I don't think he shouldn't have won it just for getting to the World Cup final. But now he brings this Croatian team to the semifinal again. If he gets to the final, beats Messi and Argentina,
and playing 120 minutes, like he's
at
there.
37 years old, you have to start saying, wow, is he in the top 5 greatest midfielders of all time now? Is he the greatest midfielder of all time now?
The greatest.
You do have to start having this conversation. You really do, because it seems like when he won that award, you're like, oh, well, was he? It even seems offensive to say, was he deserving that? Because clearly he was definitely deserving of that. But you do wonder if it was just based off of what he's done for the national team. But it's been incredible to see him in this World Cup. One of the best players so far. I would say probably the best player so far for me is probably Antoine Griezmann over in France. That he's probably impressed me the most. But outside of that, I mean, Modric is definitely up there, and the fact that he's doing that at his age, it's incredible. It's really incredible.
No, and what I love about Modric is just he takes out Brazil, beats them in the quarterfinal, and he goes up to Rodrigo, his teammate. And obviously Rodrigo is very young in age, very emotional, right? And he goes up to him, and I like social media nowadays because you can actually hear what he says, right?
Right, yeah.
And he just tells him, ánimo, eres fuerte, eres más fuerte que esto, todos fallan, everyone fails, you're going to come back greater than this, and you're going to end up, like, we got to remember, there's a whole second half of the season for clubs returning from this World Cup. So players have to shake this off, especially if they're losing now this late into the tournament. They have to shake it off in a week and go back to club play and play Champions League and do all these things with their clubs when all these emotions are still going in, which is amazing with these young players, how they're doing. Like, you have Jude Bellingham playing out of his mind with England. With France, you have, like, I don't even want to try to pronounce his name, Tuachnemeni, or I know I bottled that, but
just say he's the guy who scored the first goal in the last game. That's the guy who scored the goal from outside the 18-yard box. Which, by
the way, what has been the best goal this World Cup? I still think it was Luis Chavez.
I mean, we're biased with that. It's what's biased.
I'm sorry, but
I think it was Abubakar who remember he chipped the goalkeeper, but it was like that was during the group stage.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was a good one too.
Richarlison's the technique, the aesthetics of it. I'm a very aesthetic-driven person. That was nice.
Yeah.
Richarlison also in that goal that he had, it was a good play. Was
that a bad first touch? Was that a?
It looked like it. You know what? If we're talking Brazil, I like Neymar's goal against Croatia a lot better than Richarlison. Just the buildup of that play.
Yeah,
that was Yoga Bonito right there.
I'm so mad Brazil.
That was pretty impressive. That was like pretty cool. Yeah. Like yeah. It
reminded me of
the Luis Chavez goal. I mean, that was that's something else I'll say too. Just like when just kind of like talk about earlier today about the Mexico fans, was that I will say it was probably then or probably in the first game against Poland that was the loudest stadium I've ever been in my life.
Oh wow.
Just because of how, and I mean gone to games at the Azteca, gone to games like I've gone to like the Omni Life, Akron. Actually I think I've been to the Omni Life and Akron when they were the Omni Life and Akron. I've been to a number of who knows how many games now, but that might have actually been like the loudest stadium that I've ever been to. And I won't say it, and I don't want to give too much credit to the stadium in itself. I think it was just the Mexico fans.
Yeah.
They're just on a different level at a World Cup. I feel like it's almost like, there is a lot of anger and frustration towards like Tata and the national team, but that's almost like thrown out the window a little bit. At the World Cup in itself. So, but I would say, especially after the Luis Chavez goal, it was it was incredibly loud. Yeah.
Back against Mexico, somebody in the comments was talking about like, who would you like to see as the next manager here of Mexico? If you had a magic wand.
Oof.
If I was the like the Harry Potter of the FMF, and
Yes.
It's like
Yes.
probably Guillermo Almada. So he's a manager of Pachuca.
Just won it.
I think and it's more so just that he just won it. It's just so Mexico needs generational change.
Yeah.
You see what happened. It's almost Mexico needs a reset the same way that the U.S. had a reset. When the U.S. failed to qualify for the World Cup, they started to look at more younger options within the roster, and that's what Mexico needs to do. What they need to do is, this is an aging squad. We can't rely on the Guardados and Morenos and
hey, my boy Guardado played a great 40 some minutes. All right, he gave it.
He did for sure.
He's gonna be 58 in the next World Cup, or 72. I'm not sure, one of those ages in the next World Cup. So we got to be looking towards the next generation. So you got to look at who within the Mexican soccer world, and I know we should potentially look outside and get a little bit more creative, but who within the Mexican soccer world at the very least can help build the path for that next generation. I'm not saying that Guillermo Almada should last all the way to 2026. I'm just saying that someone needs to be providing a platform for young talent building up to 2026. So if you have a manager that not only gives minutes to young players in Mexican soccer, but is able to win a Liga MX title with that too, then I mean that's pretty good right there. And so I would probably, I'm not sure, because obviously the decision makers in Mexican soccer are the club owners. So we'll see what the club owners decide to do there. But I would say, Almada from Pachuca, I think would be a fantastic hire. The only issue is that he's when you watch a lot of Pachuca, he gets into a lot of arguments with refs. He's kind of like a hot-headed kind of guy, so he gets a lot of yellows. So it might feel a little bit like a Piojo, who just Piojo Herrera kind of guy who argues a little bit too much.
It was a great year for Mexico, 2014. I mean, you talk about wanting young players. You also can look at Jimmy Lozano, right, who has experience with these young players in the Olympics, and is known to prefer the younger generation than the old veteran players. So, but again, I think he lacks the experience to be able to maybe take on La Selección.
Give somebody a chance, man. Like, I mean, again,
you can look at Almeida. Almeida likes young players too.
Morocco's guy just got with the team. Yeah, Cesar.
I think now's the time to take it. I think it's okay to take a chance on someone now, because Mexico was already qualified for the next World Cup.
Yeah,
that's fine. That's all right.
We did it.
There's no.
We did it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
We're in, baby. Woo! We are in.
We were in before the U.S. too.
Does that mean that Canada qualified first?
Canada was the most dominant CONCACAF team going into the World Cup. So, congratulations to Canada first to qualify. Just CONCACAF domination.
They got knocked out first, yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Canada, man. Man, what a failure of a World Cup they had after being the best team in the CONCACAF.
Yeah, it's wild. But, I mean, we have 4 teams left. This is the last episode that we have before we have before the World Cup's over. Yeah, so championship being decided on Sunday. We've been kind of going in with these food-related, we have the black risotto there for Croatia. We got the las carnes de Argentina, la carne gaucha, some couscous from Morocco, and some croissants over there, obviously, for France. Food-wise, who makes it through the next round? Croatia.
Food-wise,
Argentina.
Food-wise, did you guys see the video of that French fan who took a bite of the baguette after they beat England? That was great.
Wow,
it was great.
Look that up.
So it's actually kind of funny, because it was like it's like the final whistle, and then some guy, like Beret obviously included too. He took a big bite of a baguette, and it made you think. It's like, so he was holding on to the baguette the full game, right?
Yeah.
It's like he was he was like waiting the entire game just to eat the baguette, just to what if he had to go pee? Did he bring the baguette with him? Like I don't know. I just have a lot. There you go. Yeah.
Technology here at Two Balls and a Mic has very much improved, Caesar. We're growing.
Oh man, that guy's a genius.
Uh,
Ah,
Anywho, that being said, I don't know. That's tough. That's tough. I wish I knew more about Moroccan and Croatian cuisine. I bet Moroccan cuisine is incredible though. I don't know
oh
anything about
yeah.
Moroccan cuisine, but I'm just gonna say that they're gonna win just because I don't know, just the vibes of
man.
the. I will say that once again, yeah. Even though I was highly critical of Qatar, I had a lot of very good food out there, and not just the Mexican food. So I feel like a lot of the Arab world has a lot of very good food. So you have to include Morocco in there. So yeah,
Man, as much as I would really want Morocco to get to the final, I don't think there's anyone beating this French team.
Yeah, it pisses me
yeah, I
off
don't think
that,
so.
yeah.
I really don't. I mean, and
The
again,
back line,
this is the
so
World
Morocco's
Cup
back
for it.
line, yeah.
Yeah, this is the World Cup for surprises, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say no. Like I was gonna really like quickly cut into just Morocco. It's been such a cool story, but I mean they might not have their full defensive line there, which has been I feel like part of like the define one of the defining factors for Morocco has been how well they've been doing defensively, and they're probably not going to have all their starting back four there, so it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a struggle for them, and we'll see what happens in the other semifinal, which will be tomorrow. But I don't know. I would love for it for Team Morocco, and I think everybody's. I
Yeah.
guess unless if you yourself are French or if you
Hmm.
you root for the French national team, it's just yeah. I think a lot of people root for Morocco, but I just can't see them doing it. It's
Yeah.
gonna be tough.
Both my teams are out. Brazil and Mexico are both out. So it has to be Messi. It has to be, in my mind, which is the semifinal that we have tomorrow. Um, Messi versus the world, essentially. Like, again, Argentina has its talent, but again, it just seems like it's Messi FC, or once again, and he's in a different mode. Like, I've seen the reverence of Messi in a national team setting in Copa America and World Cups before, but immediately this felt different, where the amount of bows that he's getting from the first game is just like, like, I think everybody just realized, like, this is the end. This is the swan song. You're never going to see this again. Like, we were fortunate to get Messi after Maradona, just in a playing sense, to be witnesses to that. And, in order to solidify himself as the best of all time, I think he needs this World Cup.
He has to win.
He has to get it.
Mhm.
And it's not going to be easy, because Croatia, first of all, is the only team that apparently practice penalty shots. So hopefully it doesn't get to that, according to Argentina. Croatia beat Argentina in the, I guess, what was it, last World Cup?
Yeah,
Or
last
World Cup 3-0? I was it?
Yeah, I think so. I forgot.
Yeah, so
Okay,
there's
yeah.
history there. Like, there's history there between these two teams, definitely. But what is your take just overall about these two teams meeting? Who do you think is going to come up victorious?
I mean, we'll see what happens here because, I would say with Messi, and obviously there's many more players within Argentina outside of just Messi, but obviously he's the key figure. Then I feel like Argentina, they're a world class team, but without Messi, they're a very good team, and I think that's okay to say, despite the fact that they do have a number of very very good players there. Um, but I will say, just it's the the intensity that Messi has had and that you've seen live, that you've seen at these games. It's on a different level. You know, you saw even in the group stage. I saw that live when he scored against Mexico. Like I can't remember the last time he celebrated like that passionately, that proudly. For a goal for Argentina, and that was just a group stage game. For them. And I know it was after the loss to Saudi Arabia, and they had to bounce back there, but it was it was actually quite incredible to see that. Even though as much as it hurt me, to see him get that goal against Mexico, it was really really incredible to see what Messi was able to do there against Mexico. And I know I think this is a clearly when it comes to how motivated he is, he's just on a different level right now. So it's gonna be incredibly tough for them And when I say tough for them, I mean for Croatia, because I don't know. You do wonder, like, how much energy do they have left
Yeah.
in them? How much energy do they have left? Because that has been one of the themes regarding this Croatian side, is just the how much they're running, how much they're tracking back to, to help, win duels, to win back possession, to take charge of games, because you think eventually they're going to run out. You think eventually they don't have the depth, to continue doing this, but they're continuing to do this, and you're kind of questioning how they're still at this point in the World Cup. But I don't know. I think the logical answer here is, I think Argentina are going to get. They have, when you look at their attacking talent, even without Messi, even if Messi were to have an off day, they're just on a different level than Croatia. So I think Argentina are going to get the job done, and then after that, I think it'll probably be France getting the job done against Morocco.
I see it. I see it just how you are seeing it, man. I think Argentina does take it, and Messi gets to that final once again. But that France team is just—they look unbeatable.
It's a juggernaut.
They really do. And they lost against Tunisia this World Cup, but
they're already qualified.
That was their C team. That was like their C or D team,
which is still way better than a lot of the teams in the World Cup. But
we wish we had that C or D team, like for France.
I mean, it'd be great if Messi just happens to win it all. Again, Ronaldo had his chance, and obviously he's kind of had a tough year, a very controversial year, and it kind of sucks that it went that way for Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Again, he's also 37, and the fact that Modric is here and he's not.
Yeah.
I can't say he's the greatest of all time now. Not when Messi's here and he's not.
Do you think that settles the debate at this point? Just like where these two players are right now in their career. And obviously, like I said, Ronaldo's a little older, but just the levels of what's going on as far as career-wise. Do you think this edges him out without winning the World Cup? Or does he have
I think we'll have to wait until once the World Cup is over. Because imagine that Messi just has an incredibly off day. Imagine that Messi just has an atypically kind of like poor performance. Mm-hmm. But there's going to be a severe amount of criticism thrown towards him, because once again he's the talisman of this team. And I said earlier today that you do read about like Argentine journalists saying that it's almost like Maradona is like channeling his energy through Messi. But what if that energy is completely gone in this semifinal? Like, what will people then say about him? Because remember, what makes the only reason why Messi is still a demigod as opposed to a god, that people revere Maradona to be, is because he hasn't won that World Cup. So if he isn't able to do that, if he isn't capable of making it to the final in this World Cup, then I'm not entirely sure what the conversation will be like when it comes to who is the greatest of all time. Personally, I kind of find that kind of like argument about who's the greatest of all time kind of boring, to be perfectly honest. I'm not gonna lie, like 100%. To be perfectly honest, I just I mean, who is the greatest of all time? I mean, I didn't watch Maradona live. I'm basing this off of highlights and clips of from like exactly from these games. I never watched Pele live. Like I have no idea like what it was like for him. But I guess in the modern era, like we all have watched Messi and Ronaldo and seen the incredible talents that they both have. But I would, at least in the comparison between those two, we'll wait to see how this World Cup ends.
I'm sorry, I know you want to pull up something, but Alan Underwood on the chat with a very good stat. He's told us right now, if Messi makes it and plays in the final, he will have played the most games in men's World Cup history.
That's an excellent stat.
That's fantastic. Shout out
Alan Underwood. Not just the greatest USL mind in San Diego, just the greatest soccer mind ever.
Yeah.
Just keep elevating him.
Shout out to Alan. Yeah, I haven't chatted with him in a while.
But yeah, I mean, mentioned Maradona, mentioned Messi. Nobody mentioned Pele, who played with Sylvester Stallone in the greatest soccer movie of all time.
I've actually
Victory.
never seen that movie.
You've never seen it? Honestly,
No.
if you have nothing, I mean nothing else to do, Cesar, give it a try. It's
Okay.
absolute
Okay.
garbage, but
I mean, there are a lot of really bad soccer movies out there.
There are.
Yeah,
yeah, goal 2,
cool.
Goal
Goal 3.
Yeah. Kicking and screaming.
Kicking and Screaming.
It's actually not that
The
bad.
Green Mile.
The Big
Terrible.
Green. Actually, no, The Big Green's all
Big,
right.
yeah,
Green's
I
all
said the Green Mile. That's not a soccer movie.
right.
I was like,
Yeah, I forgot at the very end. You know, when they play some pickup soccer.
Who knew
The
Tom
jail.
Hanks had it in him? Oh boy.
Well, it makes sense. Colin Hanks, his brother, is apparently a huge LAFC fan. Actually, I went to MLS Cup, and for some other, so it was a LAFC versus Philadelphia Union, and of course they had I can't believe I actually forgot his name. The guy from It's Always Sunny, and he's the lead actor. He's one of the lead dudes.
Rob
and-
McElhenney.
Yeah. They had him like representing the Philadelphia side, and then from LAFC fans, like it was Colin, like Colin Hanks. It's like, I really said you couldn't have.
Is that who we were able to get?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you had the fans in the stands, but like when they're both carrying out the trophy, it's like, oh, Colin Hanks, Los Angeles. But anywho,
No, I mean, you're a globetrotter, Cesar. Literally, just traveling the world, living the dream.
I don't plan on
soccer.
traveling that much for the next few months. That's for sure.
That's it. Did it take a lot out of you?
I'm tired. If any of you want to hang out with me, I'll be chilling over here in North Park getting beers. If any of you guys want to hang out with me,
I'm 100% down for that. So I mean, yeah, I mean, was that taxing? Just like the travel, I imagine, literally coming from across the world, like it has to be demanding on the body. Like you're a professional, what you do, but even professionals have to be put to the test sometimes with those type of things.
Yeah, I was getting. The first week I was in Qatar, I was probably getting an average of about like 3 to 4 hours of sleep per night. So that was pretty rough. Coming back over here in the United States, it's been a little bit better. But I haven't. There have been a couple of days since I've been back where I wake up about like 3, 4 in the morning and just feel just wide awake. Things have been getting better now, but yeah, it's a little hot. It's a little odd. Yeah.
100%. Obviously, you know, we would be remiss to just not mention the great Grant Wall. Obviously, you work with him.
Right.
You know, just terrible set of circumstances that have gone down just to give, you know, this change of pace a little bit. But we kind of, you know, before the World Cup started, you were going to go over there, and I just earnestly just reached out and like, hey man, con cuidado, vato. Like, it's crazy out there, and you know, vale madre esa situación. Like, it sucks, man. But
Yeah.
you know, something that we talked about is definitely something that he championed. Was, you know, rights, not just for the LGBTQ community, just women's soccer. Like the amount of people that have come out and just said like, wow, the impact that this individual has had on me personally is incredible. And so, you know, you had your runs with him a lot more, you know, you just, you know, give a few words as far as this individual, man.
Of course. Because here's the thing, regardless of, you know, on just his coverage of American soccer alone, he's a legend in the American soccer world on just the soccer coverage alone. But we all know that he was much more than that. We all know that he opened his doors to everybody and anybody who ever asked for help or ever, you know, seeked advice from him. We all know what he represented personally. You know, when it came to, you know, fighting for those rights for, I mean, as we saw for the LGBT community, out in Qatar. So, like I said, just on the soccer, if you only looked at what he did on the field, and even just, it's amazing to think that like just on the soccer alone, how important he is for helping spread the popularity of soccer in the United States. But you forget of what he also did for Sports Illustrated with that cover story with LeBron James. Yeah. People forget about that. People. And even just that alone, he is a legend himself. And to go beyond that, to just be so open and accessible, and just to be So I don't know. They're I would say a good word to use when I think of Grant Wall is just there was an incredible amount of integrity, and he was definitely a role model for many. Just for people like myself, where you really aspire to be on the level that even just to be close to the level that he was at. So incredibly sad to hear that. It was really, really, it was devastating. It was really devastating to hear that news. And obviously, thoughts and prayers to his family and friends, because it was quite a shock to hear that news last week.
It's certainly just unspeakable sadness that just came with that, and because again, he meant so much to so many things, and obviously individuals, family members first and foremost. But that's what I hear most of from people who actually knew him, right? Like you obviously had connections with him, and that's the unilateral sense is that this is just a really good dude who loved soccer and was really good at what he was doing, and to be able to do that in this life, to have something that you're just passionate about and get to do with a smile day in, day out. And, it's a grind too. And obviously that takes a toll on anybody who does something from the heart. But, it's one of those things where now it's time for everybody to pass on and make sure that that torch just stays lit, right? Like
exactly. Yeah. I think that's a very good way of putting it, because I forget who it was. I saw some tweet where it said that Grant was the kind of person who, you know, who advocated for so many people, who supported so many people, and I think the tweet said something along the lines of, "We'll never have someone like that, probably like ever again, but you need to try to be that person." And I kind of found that inspiring. That just Grant was definitely one of a kind, but we should all try to be, replicate a little bit what he was doing as well. So, I kind of found that inspiring, and just important to uplift others, important to support others, and like I said, like live with that kind of integrity that he had in his work.
And yeah, it's important, and that kind of just gave me a jolt of like, okay, like whatever reach that we might have, even if it's local here in San Diego. Like again, we didn't think that we'd be covering local soccer, and we thought we'd be talking Champions League and this and this and that when we started this, but the soccer, the sport just comes through, and here we are doing commentary for the San Diego Sockers now. Like this sport is crazy, and it could take you anywhere that you want, and obviously if done correctly, and that's what we've been trying to do, is just put your head down and keep working. You will be rewarded. And Grant as an individual, taking the risk that he took, after everybody was laid off from SI, just taking that leap of faith on himself and betting on himself, is truly pioneering, and something that we all have to look forward to as far as the way that this should be conducted, because he was it, man. Like he was the guy for soccer in the States. And I mean, we have the blueprint. There's a blueprint, and it's thanks to Grant Wall. So,
100%. Well said. Yeah.
Thoughts and prayers for everybody. That, I mean, didn't need to necessarily want to close it out with this, but had to be spoken. And you know what, man? I hope that this trip, beyond more than anything, gave you just life experiences that are you just can't replicate anywhere else. And you did your job, man. You've been killing it out there. Now you're back home, and you're gonna watch it at cozy with your cats now. Your cats now. They were probably like, "Fuck, where is this guy? You smell like cat. You smell like different cat now, sir."
Yeah,
like foreign cats.
Yeah, now it's time to chill for at least a week or so, and then dive back into Liga MX and back into some MLS stuff and anything in between, and hopefully some USL coverage. That's something to try to push for. It's sometimes tough with work to try to get them to accept some USL stuff, and who maybe even some MASL stuff. But that's if you think it's tough for me to, if you think it's tough for me to push for for USL stuff. You can only imagine if I can try to when I try to share some
Look, man.
occasional
Look, man,
MASL stuff. Yeah.
the San Diego Soccer's media game is January 8th. If you're, we kind of gotta work for the team now. So
I'm 50. I gained like 10 pounds of guitar. I
good.
like.
No se nota, vato. No se nota. You look good.
If Tony can play, you can play.
Excuse you. You know what? You both can play on the other team. You guys, neither of you are scoring. It can be everybody against me. Nobody's scoring. Steve Garcia from the Emo Brown podcast. He's gonna chicken out again. Like it's fine.
No question about it.
But hey, I mean, Tacos El Vaquero made it onto ESPN before Two Balls and a Mic. So maybe we're up next. No, man, you're killing it, man. And again, thank you for taking the time to come on it and chat with us. You're definitely one of our best friends in the industry. That sounds weird.
Yeah, guys. Of course. Always happy to chat with you guys. Yeah, it's always fantastic. Yeah.
Love it, man. We'll definitely bug you a little bit down the line to hop on back, but we'll let you get some rest, man. Thank you for your time.
Deserve the rest.
Yeah, 100%. Cesar, you are the best.
Thank you, guys. I'm going to open a second pint after this. I'm not going to lie.
There you go.
Just chill out.
Oh, man.
Thank you so much. Thanks to you guys as well. And also, obviously, keep really quickly. Can I ask you guys?
100%.
Can I ask you how? Because I am curious. What was the soccer's coverage like? That's awesome. Also, by the way, congrats. That's huge. That's amazing.
It's a legitimate step.
If anybody from Loyal or Wave or anybody out there like listening, like when are they going to hire you as well? Because like obviously that needs to be a thing.
We've offered the same thing. We do it for free to Loyal, but now van a tener que pagar, papi. Now we're
no, don't do it for free. Don't do it. Don't do it for free.
100%.
Never do it for free.
No,
which is why you guys are going to send me the $200 check after this, right?
Yeah, 100%. It's on its way. It's on its way.
No, but seriously, can I ask you guys what it was like? Because I am actually curious. Yeah.
Honestly, it was very nerve-wracking, especially just the week right leading up to the game, because we've never really done this in Spanish. Obviously, we practiced and had reruns of other soccer games where we just kind of do commentary over Craig Elston. But once we sat there and we had the monitor in front of us and we had our game notes and Craig gave us like a little pep talk before, we kind of settled down. And once the game started, I mean, indoor soccer is completely different than outdoor. It's so fast-paced, and the pointers that Craig gave us honestly kind of calmed us down. I know Tony kind of took lead on the commentary, and I was just doing more. I was more of his. He was Martinoli, and I was Jorge Campos. But
Doctor
does that mean you're laughing the whole time? Because Campos does a
little more professional, I guess.
No, I mean it was a really good experience, and again, we kind of opened up with this. This is the first time, like, as far as this podcast, right? Like, I told my mom yesterday, oh, mira, pasó esto. And then she was like, qué bien, mijo, that's good. Pero, ¿te pagaron? And for the first time, we're like, yes, they did.
You're like, hell yeah.
Us commandeering your garage for the past 2.5 years is finally paying dividends. And it might be a couple bucks, but again, like, it's something, and it's an honor to be able to do this and represent the city, and I'm taking it incredibly seriously. Like,
you should.
It's game time. Like when I was there, I was literally just taking it all in, just Eminem just bumping in my head, no actual music, just in my head, just all right, let's get in the zone. And
his palms are sweaty.
Palms were sweaty. Knees. Mom's spaghetti was whatever the rest of it is, but it was cool. And then just having the producers in the ears and just kind of, oh, there's commercials. Okay, do you want me to talk about commercials? Oh, you're going to relay Melissa May, who's interviewing Phil Salvaggio, the coach, but there's no audio coming in, so she's just doing...
Kind of improvise and we're just like, think she's asking and improvise the answer.
Yes, aquí está Melissa hablando con el coach Phil Salvaggio de qué le pareció la primera etapa, qué es lo que necesitan. And then we asked her afterwards, like, hey, what did you ask her? It's like, oh, just like, what were the keys in the game in the first half? I'm like, cool.
Okay. That's kind of assumed you were asking that.
Exactly. But I mean, it's as cool as it gets, man. And it's just experience that, we're getting, and we really want to be that premier soccer, whatever this is, media outlet, just the soccer dudes, as Drew was telling, you guys should be the soccer dudes in San Diego. And I think that's possible. Like, the amount of people that came out and said congratulations is crazy.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't think the call was too bad. I'm usually hard on myself, and there was that Cesar H. Football inside of my head, just like, because my concern was like, no quiero estar como muy pocho, right? Like, no quiero ser, aquí viene el tiro, el shot, se me fue.
Chutéale.
Chutéale, ¿cómo se dice? But at the same time, it's like, you know what? We're from San Diego. This is San Diego Spanish. This is as it's going to be, as it's going to get.
Language.
Yeah. And so if we're going to say shoot out, then sure. Like el tiempo del castigo. Like that's not official.
Sometimes you listen to, you'll watch till the end and you watch Liga MX coverage and be like, oh, aquí está el corner. And like, is it corner? It's like, oh, all right, cool. All right. I guess you get el corner. Like, I was like, all right, if they can, if like legit, like,
honestly, if Cantor can like say, like, miss a call every 3 seconds on Telemundo, like, I have my own gripe with Fox Sports. First, it's in English. They're not mentioning some stuff and whatever. Love Jimmy Conrad. Love the boys. But, I'm listening to it in Spanish because that's what you have. You have Peacock and I steal your account. So thank you for that.
Yeah, of course.
But no, I mean, it's one of those things where it's going to keep building. Craig told us this is literally the worst you're going to do. So cool. Which is great. Fair. Like that calmed us down. Honest, like this is the worst you're going to do. It's the first one. It's the worst you're going to do. So go for it. Like have fun. Yeah. Go at it. I was
thinking too, like, man, we looked at our first podcast and it was way worse than it is now.
Yeah. And so we got some good calls on there. Like the first and the last goal call, got to work on the levels, but it worked out, man. It was fun. They liked it.
They won.
Won. I mean,
I'm proud of you guys. Like genuinely, I'm like, no, it's just
thank you.
Not just stupidly sitting like, no, I'm proud of you guys. And obviously, build off this. Keep going. Keep it going. Obviously, I know you guys are capable. I mean, no offense to the Sockers. I'm sorry if anybody's listening to the Sockers, but I know you guys are capable of so much more as well. So build off this. It's going to be great. And yeah, I'm really excited for the two of you because, capitalize on this.
Yes, 100%.
Keep going.
100%.
Keep going.
Next year's going to be big. Like, I will just say it, like, next year is going to be big here. 150 weeks in a row. I don't know when we're going to end this streak.
At one point, this streak's got to end.
At some point. Like, it's just ridiculous at this point. The Undertaker lost a streak in WrestleMania, so anything can happen.
Hey, you guys are just a Luka Modric of what's happening right here. You're just the Morocco. It doesn't matter. You just keep on going. People can doubt you, but you're just keeping on going.
And the World Cup scene seems attainable. It's 3.5 years. Yeah. We should be ready in 2 years, right? We should be FIFA certified, ready to go. FIFA should not be able to say no to us in 2 years, hopefully. And that's kind of like
those
the goal.
Gold Cup credentials we gotta get.
Absolutely.
If Copa America happens to be in the U.S.
Well, guys, like usual, reach out and I'll always help you out.
Thank you so much, man.
That's why you're the man, Cesar. And yeah, like it's really the adventure of a lifetime. And thank you for everybody who's helped us out. You, Cesar, since day one, right? Day one, that preseason match between San Diego Loyal at the Olympic Training Center. Not even Costa del Este. Before. It was at the training center.
The UPSL man? Oh no.
No, it was.
It was against FC Dallas. It was against FC Dallas, correct? Right? Yeah.
Not that one. It was another one
game
where Marissa, hashtag Marisa, as Landon calls her, was there. It was a day. Yair scored the only goal.
It was a lot of the reserve players too.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, back then, man, back of the bus shenanigans with Drew, like you've been there. I really appreciate that. And we definitely will be reaching out.
For sure.
Yeah, of course, guys. No, of course, guys. Always happy to help. Always happy to chat. And like, just I don't know, living this weird, bizarre dream that we're all doing in this soccer world, right? Just this the reason why we're all here is just because we feel so entirely passionate about the sport. We feel, I don't know, just a little too enamored with with this bizarre, fantastic, weird, strange, incredible, amazing sport that we're all so in love with.
You know what? We're gonna reach out, invite you out to a beer so we can talk soccer without cameras in our faces.
Yeah.
That's
then I can tell you guys some funny stories about guitar.
Yes. Let's go.
Oh yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Love it. All right, Cesar. Well, we'll let you, I guess, kind of get back on your sleep schedule. I don't even know what your sleep schedule looks like. Just get all the rest of the world, man. You deserve it.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for chatting with me. Thank you, and shout out to Drew too. I see you as well, Drew, looking like a little bit like a skinny Santa Claus out there with the red top and beanie. So
Ready for bed, just in case.
That's right.
I love this. It might be colder here than it is where he's at.
Yeah, I'm fully convinced about that.
It snowed in
God.
National
Oh
City.
yeah, we had snow like 2 days ago, and then it all rained like within the last 2 days, and it all went away. But yeah, when you guys had hail this morning, it was like more than what I had in my lawn. I sent a picture to Craig actually earlier.
All right.
All right, Cesar.
Love it, man.
Have a good
Thanks,
night,
guys.
Man.
Have a good night, everybody.
Bye, dude.
Oh man, Cesar.
There goes my hero. Watch him as he goes. Well, that was fun. A lot there.
Yeah.
There was a lot there. Obviously, it's good to get somebody's perspective. Like, it's crazy, right? We could get somebody's perspective who was in the World Cup at
That's
Qatar.
crazy,
Like, he was just
man.
there. He was just there.
It's gonna be us in 2026, man.
Us in 2026, we're gonna have somebody interviewing us. Hey, two balls. Like, what was it? What
hell
was it
yeah.
like? What was it like for you guys?
We're gonna know so many people that we're just gonna have a bunch of people that were in the World
Hell
Cup with
yeah!
us.
You know what? We should start a GoFundMe. People have actually kept asking me recently too, like, when are you guys gonna start your Patreon? When are you guys gonna start this? Conversations have been had,
Okay.
and again, maybe something might be coming down the line. Maybe some merch, maybe some different stuff. Next year's gonna be good, as I see.
2023 is gonna be very big for Two Walls and a Mic for sure.
100%.
And that's the big plan. And some things are gonna change.
If you really want to give us money, I'll give you Chivas Venmo. Like, just throw money that way. Like, it's a-okay. But that was fun. There is some local news. San Diego Loyal related, as we switch gears from the macro to the micro. San Diego Loyal
The micro
have
is always very entertaining.
micro skills. Do you know what micro skills is?
I know.
Micro skills is one of those ITT Tech type colleges that was here
Okay.
in San Diego. They actually had the school in the Pyramid in Miramar.
Were they
Now
one of
it's
the
an
ones that
Ashley
got
Furniture
sued?
Home Store. Yeah, one of them. Then there was Concord Career College. I only know this
Kind
because
of like a DeBry University type shit.
yeah,
or
because those are the universities that were in daytime television
scamming people.
before Jerry Springer.
You know, my brother fell for that.
Reba,
My brother
My Wife and Kids
was a dropout from DeBry University.
Seventh Heavens reruns during the daytime.
Yeah.
Montel Williams.
Okay.
Montel Williams was a shit. And then he had like crazy people like Sylvia Brown. He's like, I feel dead people in the room. They are here. Like, and it's like, no.
I remember. San Diego Loyal.
San Diego, yes.
Finally announced returning players.
Así es.
Ah.
Así es, Chiva.
Getting ready for the trial for Spanish commentary for
stop.
Loyal.
The Spanish comments. Oh, for the Soccers? I mean, for the Loyal? I'm
Loyal.
down. Again, just the right money's there. Just reach in and get it. You're not paying Landon for head coaching anymore. Let's talk about that, right? Again, we just mentioned that.
San Diego Loyal.
Was promoted to full-time.
Did we not mention that last episode?
Did we?
I'm pretty sure we did.
Yeah, we did. Nate
we
Miller's
did.
a new
Yeah,
guy.
yeah, we
Cool.
did.
Nate Miller's ship now. Everybody knows that Nate Miller's been calling the plays, the X's and O's. This is no surprise. Is this going to bring any type of change? Not really, because again, he's been putting his 2 cents and his style, and this is his team from the beginning, his type of players. He might want to bring some of his old players in to fit his style. So we'll see what that looks like.
There's a player, a big name player that's not coming back, and that's Kyle Vassell, right?
Yes.
And I think that's the one that was a little shocking, but not too shocking, obviously. But he had a hell of a season. He was a great forward.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he had the moments where you would get frustrated. You're like, dude, you should be finishing that.
You should be
doing
finishing
this.
that. You should be scoring those penalties.
I was getting so frustrated at the referee. At one point, I thought he would fight a referee.
Yeah, that would have been cool. I mean, he did fight that Orange County guy. That was dope.
For sure.
But yeah, so Kyle Vassell, one of the players that is not returning for next season, and that's a hit, right? Like he was that 1-2 punch along with Among up front. Here he, putting up the thank you to everybody involved, the San Diego Loyal, the players, the staff, and of course the fans. We didn't win a championship, but he showed everybody where we were going. On a personal note, my season couldn't have gone better. Getting my highest goal tally and winning Player of the Year. What's up?
Soy un pendejo.
What?
I read Loyal comment. thank you, KV. And I was like, oh, Coque Vegas. And then Coque Vegas is coming. I was like, wait,
You're
what?
an idiot. But yeah, and there was people around there in that last match that kind of heard him say like some sort of like, man, like I love San Diego. Like I love living in San Diego. Man, it's going to suck when I don't live in San Diego anymore and type of things. And it was like, okay, we might be leaving. So there's that. I know he was getting paid a lot is what I know. He was getting paid.
Probably a reason why, right?
A decent amount. And so with the amount that you're not paying Kyle Vassell, you should be able to have 3-4 players, maybe 2 solid players on your payroll now that are, important and can maybe be developed into that.
Yeah, USL budgets are very, very tricky, right? And it's obviously not like as public as maybe some people would want.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that we've always been curious about. Like, how much do you think this
going
player
back,
gets
like
paid?
there's very secretive. Going back to the mysterious disappearance of Corey Hertog, like it's very too close to the vest. They don't want to say anything. And the only time that we've ever gotten in trouble for San Diego Loyal is because of Nate Miller. And that's when we had a boomerang of 2 seconds of a training. And the former communications guy texted us while he was getting a haircut. And Nate texted him, was like, what the fuck is this? And then he texted us, what the fuck is this? Take it down. And we're
I like how you're including me in this when it was all you that posted that shit.
Oh, shit. Yes. 2 balls in a mic is a,
Because I know had that been me, you would have destroyed me. You would have killed me for posting that.
I would have.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
So,
but yeah, let's
you're
talk
very
about.
lucky that I'm a lot calmer than you.
No, you're not.
All right. Well, who's coming back, Tony?
Well, we already.
wait,
Hold on. Time out.
coming back, right?
Right? Yep.
Is that what you want to talk about?
Yes. One other person that is not returning.
And a lot of people are happy about it.
I
don't know anyone that's upset about it.
don't even know if he's upset about it or at all surprised. Like,
I mean, does he stay in the USL?
I don't know where the fuck this guy goes. I mean,
who gets like
Andrew
what?
Carlton, AC,
No se queda.
was sitting in that chair.
And I need a new chair.
Couple of months ago, talking and telling us why he's a good individual, why he's a good person, why he has a Mexican as his best friend, and granted, in that time space while he was here, he didn't call me a racial term. He didn't look at me up and down like, oh, this and that. Like,
He probably
that
thought,
didn't
wow,
happen.
this is a big dude.
Yeah, this is the biggest one I've ever seen. Make him this big? Oh man. But yeah,
Oh no.
it was one of those
I know
things.
you meant that too, and that's hilarious. Anyways,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I need a new chair. But yeah, he's not coming back, and we've had conversations, right, with Ricardo about this, where
Mm-hmm.
we understand why they brought him. If you saw him at training, you would understand how he can support the team, not only in games. Obviously, we all want the impact in the games, but you got to realize you got to have competitiveness at training.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what he brought more than anything when he was playing, especially with. So at training, they'll do a lot of like the starting versus this players, and he would very much create competition to the starting players, which is essentially what you want at training. So a lot of people didn't see that aspect of it, that side of it. But at the end of the day, you want results on the field, you want goals, you want assists, you want impact, and he really didn't deliver on that, which is, I think the team agreed. That's why he's not coming back, and we mentioned it, right? Is it worth it? Was it worth bringing him for what he delivered? No.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Por el rollote que pasó,
todo el
like
pedo,
everything.
no,
Like,
it was not worth it. And was it worth just losing Craig in 109? Probably not.
hey, he's not there anymore.
He's
He
going to
might
come
return.
back. Craig is coming.
The return.
Boom. Craig. Regresa.
Se queda. But yeah, so these are the players that are returning according to the website and the press release. We got number 3, Elijah Martin, who obviously has cemented himself as just that guy.
Yeah.
One of the just seminal players that San Diego Loyal has, brought in. You have Grant Stoneman, Camden Riley, Jackson Kazansu.
Who a lot of people are very excited about. He's still young. He's very skillful. Very, very, very good defender. It's good that they brought him back.
And then, according to this, Ebenezer Akon, also coming back, and Mana, Mr. Bobby Plant.
I still hope they bring a new center back or a new defender. I was very, very, very peculiar about the defense, right? Or at least more depth. But I mentioned it to Ricardo.
Yeah,
so-
you did mention it to Ricardo. Like, we're trying, guys. Like, we're trying our best to get
a championship level team, but
100%. And then in the forward positions, I don't like how this is ordered. It should be midfield. We have Tumi Moshibani, Evan Conway, Nick Moon, who stays, very important, unfortunate, and to his season last season.
Yeah.
And Thomas Amang coming back. Thomas
I
Amang,
like
important.
I like this. I
Uh-huh.
really do.
Everybody?
Everybody.
Who are you having more
I like Nick Moon.
expectations of?
Expectations, if Nick Moon can stay healthy, I think he was a very crucial and probably one of the best players this last season, especially when he's able to play in the wing, not as a right wing back or defensive role, but more attacking. Highest expectations, Evan Conway. I think he can be a breakthrough player in the USL this season. He could become the starting striker. He could be the guy that you want to score the most goals. I think he has that potential, and a lot of people, I think, agree with me and hope that he's able to be that guy.
I need Toomey time to come back. Like I need him to
Toomey has gotten better every season, though.
to saddle up, nut up, shut up, and just let's go. Like 100%, full throttle. He has the talent. He has everything. He has the tools. He's there. But yeah, I'm glad that he's back. Thomas Amang, again, part of, he needs to cool it. Discipline wise, he needs to cool it.
No,
Especially
like,
in the last game. Like,
I like the passion that he
I like
has.
it. Yeah, not saying I don't.
I like it. I think he's good. He's very
channel it.
strong. He uses his body well. He draws a lot of fouls, and I mean, you want a player like that in your team.
Y luego tenemos aquí el buen español Coque Vegaz. Regresa Coque Vegaz.
Best returning player, best player that could be returning for sure.
Along with Duran Ferry, the youngster.
Who I think he'll learn a lot from Coque.
And then the strength of San Diego Loyal, possession-based games. You have Morgan Hackworth.
I'll say this, right? You gotta have players in the bench that could
Somebody's going to
potentially
fill the bench.
that could potentially jump in when needed at a striker position, midfield defender position. But Landon has mentioned that he likes the improvement that he's had, and he's gotten better, obviously. But he's not
Haven't seen it.
starting quality unless somehow just magically improves a lot and takes over a starting spot. But
Yeah. Let's see it on the field. I want to see him when it counts. Capitán de Capitanes, Jesus himself.
yeah, Jesus himself, yes. Jesus.
Charlie Adams returning.
Jesus Adams.
Jack Blake, number 7, again, injury-ridden, but
when he's healthy?
when he's hot, he's hot.
Yes.
Guido also coming back
I'm
after a
very
great
happy
season.
with that as well. Like number 10, you got to bring him back.
Short stay. And then Colin Martin, arguably one, if not the best player
Best player.
that San Diego Loyal has.
He's the engine. He's the you need that player in the starting lineup. Without Colin in the midfield, it looks lost. And with him and Charlie in the middle, it's a wrap, man. So it'd be interesting to see what new players they bring in. If they bring like high profile players from the USL that I know Alan Underwood will very much enlighten us with, since he really knows.
He's ready. He's like just chomping at the bit of like, USL's coming. Who would you want, from the known loyal verse to replace Kyle Vassell? I know people were talking about bringing Barry back, somebody else in the USL, bigger than that.
Barry's going to be on loan again, and then they could just take him away. I'd rather not see loan players next season. Obviously, you're still going to have some.
Yeah.
But
you know why. Yeah.
But I'd rather just
again, there's some things with this. It's like learning, like just sometimes just throwing up our doc up there. That's why we keep those safe.
Yeah.
And Drew's learned this, right? Like he's posted a couple things for 2 balls and a mic on his personal account, and I told him it's like if Clark Kent went to the Daily Planet. Superman went to the Daily Planet and started typing while wearing the Superman costume. And then him realizing himself, like, oh shit, changes. Nobody saw him or anything, but was like, oh fuck, like, Batman walking into a gala. Oh, Batman, what are you doing here? Oh crap,
shit. But yeah, man, like it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with San Diego Loyal this season. It's gonna be up to Nate, really. It's his show now.
I mean, and I don't know if
who's gonna be the assistant coach now?
TD. That's how I know him. I can't tell you what his name actually is. I forget.
Is it the blonde dude?
TD. I know. The voice of God somewhere has it. No, the voice of God.
Kate Donovan. No, that's the dad from the OC. Uh,
Dios.
Diosito.
yes. Yeah, I believe it's Davis, but yeah, I'll get it for us in 1 second.
Appreciate
Senor
it.
Davis.
But yeah, and something that we have confirmed, and we'll see how we're going to work this in. Hopefully, even as soon as, no, not next week, maybe next week. I know the players reported today to the Olympic Training Center. There were some of them. They were training. They were getting some reps in. But we do have, yes, we should. But we do have Miller time coming back.
Yes.
So we had assistant coach at the time, Nate Miller, coming on.
We finally get the head coach.
After 2.5 years, two balls on the mic,
coach.
have finally got the head coach of San Diego Loyals to come on and talk to us, because Landon Donovan certainly never fucking talked to us one-on-one via Zoom. It's all good. He played Twitch during the pandemic. He was on Rocket League before he came on and talked with us. But it's okay. Maybe we'll talk to the vice president of soccer operations.
We'll see.
Whoever that may
have
be.
More time now.
Yeah, he'll have more time. Diosito? Is this
The name is Tim Daniels.
Tim Daniels, TD.
Yes, that's right.
I actually thought it was just technical director. Like that was just his name. And then, he was born to be TD.
That's right. All right, man. But yeah, I mean,
You're not Cesar. Thank you.
kind of covered.
I love that. The voice of God.
Yes.
The voice of reason.
We kind of
You're
covered.
welcome.
Oh shit! I'm gonna get scared from time to time.
I love it.
We covered soccer's World Cup food, loyal. Talking NFL. We gotta do our pick'ems.
I guess.
I guess. Wow, you don't sound too convinced.
No, just let's start real quick. At
least fantasy, because we're about to get into fantasy playoffs.
Absolutely.
We can do our pick'ems on the side, and then we'll
we'll
post
do
them
that.
up later.
We'll do that on the side.
At least do fantasy.
God is getting tired.
I'm getting tired.
Yeah. So, real quick, let's go over it. NFL is coming to a close fantasy football wise. We do have the 2 balls in a mic league. So, just to recap over at, there was some exciting kind of matchups, especially when it came to one Weston, who, by the way, get your tickets from the good man, the good boy, Weston, for San Diego Loyal season tickets. He is in our league, and he went up against El Brujo del 78, Adrian, White Bronco. And tell me, Chiva, who needed to win what?
Here's what happened, right?
What happened was
there's a fantasy Twitter page that just always puts, what do you need to win this week? And Adrian, who's on our fantasy league, is Brentwood White Broncos. He was facing off against Weston San Diego Fleet. Weston 8-5, Adrian 7-6. Adrian was done already at 105.7 points, and Weston still had Kyler Murray left on Monday Night Football and just needed a few points. I think he just needed like 2 points. And Adrian jokingly said, well, what are the chances that Kyler Murray just drops dead after the first play of the game?
Well, guess
Motherfucker
what?
jinxed it. On the first play of the game, Kyler Murray makes a run, falls on his own, and
non-contact
knee injury, and was ruled out for the rest of the game. Had 0.66 points left. Weston fell short by 1.5 points against Adrian and lost the matchup 104.16 to 105.68. Hilariously enough, it was just Brandon also went in and said, it happened. Like, fantasy football has its
way of working,
ways,
100%. And
very funny ways of working.
yeah, so your Kyler Murray pretty much dropped dead at the first play. Weston was like, this happened to me last week with Lamar Jackson in another league, so wouldn't be shocked.
And it happened. He texted me. He said, this literally just fucking happened. Like, what the fuck? And again, like, if we go over results, we had...
Did you see that? Let me tell you something, Skip.
Yes. I love that.
I can't believe the man is allowed to drink Henny in the morning. I wish I could drink Henny in the morning.
But anyways, just to recap the week real quick, we
dude,
faced off against our boy JPAP, and he started talking shit in the fantasy chat, saying like, I'm gonna beat 2 balls and blah blah blah. I think we pretty much kicked him out of playoffs. It was a low scoring game for us. We got 84 points. He got 63.
Win's a win.
A win to win.
Yeah.
Dawson Knox stepped up for us with the touchdown, 14.1 points. I mean, again, if you have your kicker in your top performers, you're not going to win a matchup. So sorry, J-Paps, on that one.
Ass.
We had Cesar Hernandez defeating the boy genius Corbin, who just his team did not perform well at all.
His team crumbled at some point. Like he was up there, but
finishing the season 8-6 with Cesar Hernandez finishing 10-4.
And we have Corbin against Tepicoloyo Aquiles.
This is Danny,
Castro.
just with the name Corbin's Fantasy. The worst 2 teams in our league facing off against each other. And Tepicoloyo wins and is going 3-11.
That sucks. Weston again
Matchup that we
losing.
just talked about. Yeah.
Yikes. Mini Vikes Jesse over from San Diego Wave against the boy, the friend.
Yeah.
¿Cómo se llama este güey?
We have Chris beating Mini Vikes over here. And then we had another matchup. Another very surprising fantasy player was Brandon, ending the season 10-4, beating Infierno Demonios, who was one of the runner-up from last season, pretty much not making playoffs either. We secured a bye week because we won our division, Tony.
Mm-hmm.
We got first place with the 9-5 record. We are securing our first place with a bye week. And I believe it's going to be Javi CSI Hernandez who is going to be securing the other bye week as well because of pointage. Same record, but he has more points in favor than Brandon in that division. So
I'm trying
he
to
will
find
be
where is it?
standings or projected playoffs.
Projected playoffs.
Right here, yes.
There we go.
So obviously this is what it would look like right now. With the updated records, I think it might still look the same.
Mm-hmm.
Because teams that lost, that had a chance, are still lost. It's a little weird, but we'll be able to kind of confirm it next week as well.
I just don't want to pay for another jersey.
So
I
we
don't
got the
wanna give
bye
these
week.
people another jersey.
And it looks like we could play Adrian or Brandon. I really don't want to face Brandon because his team is.
We could take anybody on. I
We
really
really
just don't
can.
want
We
to pay
really
for another
can.
jersey.
Because I did beat Tony in the pick'ems for last week. So it kind of comes down to the last few games of the season to see who would pay for it. So. Yeah, this was a very fun episode. 150 straight weeks, Tony. How are you feeling?
Tired? I didn't think we'd make it to like episode 3. Like, we have kept it going.
I think we hit a 2-hour episode today, right?
Probably. Let's check. Yeah, 202.
Nice.
Thank you to Cesar H. Football. Finding
man,
him at
boy.
Cesar H.
The
Football on
boy.
Twitter. He's the guy. He's the man.
Yeah.
Thank you again for everybody who shouted us out and has been supporting us, got us. The city put us there into that booth.
Straight up. Every single one of you, you're the reason why we are where we're at. We're putting in the work, but it's because of your support that we're still here.
Exactly. So follow Two Balls and a Mic on Twitter. Tell your people, be a friend, tell a friend.
Tell them to subscribe to YouTube because that's the only way we're also going to get bigger subscribers on YouTube.
100%.
We hate to be those guys, but we do need more subscribers.
Listen, show your people. Again, we have the great, fantastic Drew Steck now with us. He's still here. So he's going to be helping us with a bunch of stuff. Drew, where can people find you? What can people expect from you?
At Drew Stork, .mastodon.ai.
SPCglobal.net.
That's social. Yeah, I know. Can someone make that as a server? I'll join that one on Mastodon. That's the least I can remember. That's the hardest part, is remembering which server you're on. But yeah, also Twitter at Drew Stork, a little easier, and Instagram as well. But I'll be helping pipe some socials for these guys with the World Cup of food and just whatever other fun stuff we cook up to kind of keep stuff interesting in between, and clips, and let us know stuff you want to see on the show, so can give us some lead time and help produce stuff throughout the week that we put into shows each week, and gonna have some fun. But right now I made a crucial error. I should have made tea or like coffee or something, and I think that's next time we do this, that's gonna be my feedback for myself.
It's a game of adjustments.
I feel like I've gone very NPR, from like sports radio to like NPR over here. Hey, let's talk about knitting flags for the World Cup.
I've got a really nice sweaty ball recipe. I don't know if
sweaty balls.
Have you ever had my sweaty balls?
Landon, can you speak up?
Oh, you want some?
Maybe we could do some
Landed sweaty
cooking
balls?
episodes. That would be good.
Wow,
I'm down
cooking
for that.
streams.
Yeah.
Down for that. 2 balls on the block, chopping block.
Yeah, we could like review some of those like box meal recipes, like HelloFresh or whatever,
Ooh,
Oh,
what?
okay.
Have them become a
and
sponsor.
how we could make it better with. Yeah, let's do that.
Let's go. Big things coming
Boom.
for 2 balls at a
Making
mic.
monies.
Thank you guys. Every single one of you.
Drew, stick
Appreciate
around.
you guys.
We'll talk.
Love you guys.
Bye.